I'd like to call this June 24th, 2024 council meeting to order. If you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Shields.
Here.
Simpson.
Here.
Coin.
Here.
DeSalvo. Here. Hare.
Here.
Hazeltine. Present. Rose.
Here.
Reading of the minutes.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
I'll make a motion to approve the June 10th, 2024 regular meeting of council as prepared and submitted by the clerk.
Second.
Any discussion on the minutes? Will the clerk please call the roll on the approval of the minutes?
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Reports of standing committees. The Finance Committee met prior to council this evening, and we'll meet again in 2 weeks, and then we go on break because we need it. Health, Safety, and Sanitation, Mr. Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled, nothing to report.
Public Properties, Mr. Shields.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled, no report this evening.
Special Legislation, Mr. Rose. I almost said it.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report, nothing, no meeting scheduled.
Streets and Sidewalks, Ms. Hare.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled, nothing to report.
Water and Utilities, Ms. Hazeltine.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled and nothing new to report.
Emerging Technologies, Mrs. DeSalvo.
Thank you, Mr. President. We met this past Wednesday. In attendance for the meeting were Rick Kirby, Sergeant Darren Zaramba, Ariel Bly, Josh Strong, Bob Mueller, Jared Fry, Todd Bauer, and Joe Nichols. We discussed the website and how the process, how that's coming along. Jared Fry pointed out that by 2027, the website will have to be ADA compliant.
How do you do that?
He's working on that. So, yeah, so that's something that we're going to have to make sure that.
So it
we
has
have-
sound, and it's going to have sound.
It's going to have sound, it's going to be adaptable for vision impaired, and, yeah.
Okay, great.
So, they are putting together a quote for what's going to happen over the next 2 years, how that's going to look. And Jared Fry also, oh no, I'm sorry, Sergeant Zaremba pointed out that they are going to be switching over to Microsoft 365 because he's been doing the maintaining everything on his own within the building, but it's not able to be done anymore. So they're going to have to transition over to Microsoft 365. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. Requests for council action, we have several for the Finance Committee. 24-135, Fund Transfer Request Cable TV Fund. 24-136, Grant Application State Violent Crime Grant for the Police. 24-137, Grant Application Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation Police. 24-138, Expenditure for Litchfield Heating, Inc. Service Department. 24-139, Amend Ordinance 108-23, 1969 Courthouse Lease Agreement. 24-140, Petition to join the JED LTC Montville LLC. 24-141, Discussion Credit Card Fees. 24-142, Budget Amendments. 24-143, Award CMAR for Municipal Court Project. 24-144, Amend Ordinance 2023 relative to the City Railroad Improvements Project. And 24-145, Increase Expenditure PO 2024-1275 Paul Davis Restoration for the CHIP grant. Reports of municipal officers. Mayor Hamwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Medina Community Band Concerts began on June 7th, and they're every Friday night for the rest of June and July as well. They're always at 8:30 p.m., weather permitting. The exception is July 4th is on a Thursday. They usually do that Friday and the July 4th, but because it's on Thursday, they're going to skip July 5th. The third annual Juneteenth celebration took place on Saturday, June 15th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. I just wanted to thank the sponsors and donors to permit the event to be held free of charge on the public square. And I also want to thank Councilmember Reggie Hare for her great deal of help at the event. As a result of the city's participation in the Healthy Medina program with Medina Hospital, as well as the involvement of the employees here, the city received a rebate from Medical Mutual of over $146,000 for premiums that were paid in 2023. And that amount was calculated, it was a maximum of 5%, but it was calculated by taking a look at the claims history versus the premiums paid. And if it met certain thresholds, we could have gotten a rebate of 1% to 5%, and we got the maximum. We're still working with Medical Mutual to see exactly how that's going to be applied to our billing. And then we have a multitude of July 4th activities posted on the city website, www.medinaoh.org, and there's a there's a quality of life tab there, and near that there's a link that says Celebrate the 4th of July in Medina. And if you click on that, there's a flyer that lists the various events. And I'd also like to wish everybody a safe and happy 4th of July. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Durham, Director of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. President. There are a number of items that came from the Finance Department that I will address when we get to them on the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Huber, Law Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Mrs. Marshall, Economic Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report this evening.
Chief Kinney, Police Department.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd just like to let the public know that our municipal hunting program will start up again. We're going to start accepting applications for that hunting program August 1st. Pick the applications up here at the Medina Police Department and then returned here at the Medina Police Department. Lieutenant Markham is the officer who is running that program. Once we receive the application and determine that it's a viable area, we'll send officers out to do a safety inspection of that area. The bow season does start September 14th, 2024. So applications here at the Police Department, our Records Division, fill them out and return them back at the Police Department.
Thank you. I know we had a email regarding what's the status of the deer and what are we doing, and just so everybody knows, as the chief mentioned, it did pass the ballot language in November. It was kind of late in the season.
Mm-hmm.
There were some applications made, but I think there was only a couple approved, and I don't believe there were any harvesting of deer at all this past year that I'm aware of.
That's correct, sir.
And so now we're going to go through the full season and see how it goes, and hopefully it's more successful. If not, I think we have to revisit what we're going to do to try to aid in the reduction of the deer population. I know that everybody understands how many deer are out there. You see them all the time. It's amazing how many you see nowadays. It's a little out of control, and hopefully it can be done safely and effectively, and hopefully go through the process and it'll work, but we'll see.
Yeah, we're hoping for more interest with the full season.
Yes, okay, thank you. Mr. Toth, LST Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through May, the life support team responded to 1,532 emergencies for the city of Medina. For all three entities, we responded to 2,330. Thank you.
Thank you. Cindy Lestuka from the Municipal Court.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Pacoli, Service Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report this evening.
Mr. Gladys, Building Official.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Mr. Patton, City Engineer.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also have no report this evening.
Chief Walters, Fire Department.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Mr. Dutton, Community and Planning Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Okay. All right. Notices, communications, and petitions, we have none. Unfinished business, we have none of that. Introduction of visitors. Members of the public will be permitted the opportunity to speak on any issue or concern which pertains to the city during the portion of the council agenda devoted to introduction of visitors. All comments shall be directed to the chair, and a reasonable time limit of approximately 5 minutes will be imposed. If there's a group, please appoint a spokesperson. Speakers should approach the rear microphone and state their name and address so it can be entered into the minutes. Members of the public will be permitted the opportunity to comment on other portions of the meeting determined by the chair or by a vote of the majority of council members present. Is there anybody that wishes to address council at this time? This is your opportunity. No? Nobody. Introduction and consideration of ordinances and resolutions. At this time, I would entertain a motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings of the following ordinances and resolutions. Resolution 11524, Ordinance 11624, 11724, 11824, 11924, Resolution 12024, Ordinance 12124, 12224, 2324, 2424, 2524, 2624, 12724, 12824, 12924, 13024, and Ordinance 13124.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
I'll make a motion to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings of tonight's ordinances and resolutions.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Resolution 11524, resolution declaring it necessary to levy a renewal of an existing tax of 3.2 mils in excess of the 10 mil limitation for the operation of an ambulance and emergency medical service.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
I would like to amend this resolution. In Section 1, we need to remove the words "for the purpose of providing and maintaining necessary or desirable equipment, personnel, supplies, and paying any and all other costs or expenses incidental to the," we need to remove that word as an amendment.
Second.
Is there any discussion on the proposed amendment to the resolution? Will the clerk please call the roll on adoption of the amendment to the resolution?
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
And I'll now make a motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion to approve the resolution as amended? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the resolution as amended?
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Resolution 11524 passes 7-0 as amended.
Ordinance 11624, an ordinance amending sections 11501A and B of the codified ordinance of the City of Medina, Ohio relative to the annual and 5-year budget timeline.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion, Mr. Durham.
Thank you, Mr. President. I put this request in because for a fund that has a levy, like the one we just passed to put on the ballot, I wanted to move that into the first group of budgets we do, so we do it in the spring, so we have more time before the levy needs to go on, so we can look at the budget, decide what we need to do as far as a renewal or an increase or whatever, and then move forward, and we have time to do all that before the deadlines.
Thank you. That makes sense. Anybody have any questions on the ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Ordinance 11624 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 11724, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to accept the grant and to enter into agreement for police service dog with the Medina City Schools pertaining to a school resource officer canine program.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Simpson?
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it at this time.
My second includes the emergency clause?
Discussion on the ordinance and the emergency clause. Chief Kinney.
Thank you, Mr. President. Again, this is an ordinance that allows the mayor to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Medina City Schools regarding a school resource officer canine program. This ordinance also is requesting permission to expend the funds of $24,492 for the dog as well as the upfit. Again, those are funds from a grant that was secured by the Medina City Schools. It is not local tax funding. It is a grant that they were able to secure. Additionally, as discussed in finance, we're also asking permission to apply for a grant and acceptance if awarded from the Lincoln Foundation to assist to pay for a vehicle for this program. The emergency clause is requested so that we can secure the dog as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions on the emergency clause and/or the ordinance?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
because this involves my employer, I'm going to abstain to avoid any appearance of a conflict.
Any other comments? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Abstain.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-1, one abstention.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Abstain.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Ordinance 11724 passes 6 yeas, 1 abstention.
Ordinance 11824, an ordinance amending ordinance number 1424 passed January 22nd, 2024 relative to the expenditure to Akron uniform for the police department.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes emergency clause.
Discussion on the ordinance and emergency clause. Chief Kenny.
Thank you, Mr. President. We're requesting permission to expend those funds at Akron Uniform for the police department. The emergency clause is requested because we have outstanding invoices. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody have any comments on the emergency clause and or the ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance, or the emergency clause?
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Ordinance 118-24 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 11924, an ordinance authorizing the increase of the expenditure to Rogue Fitness, doing business as Cutler Ventures LLC, related to equipment for the Medina City Hall fitness room.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Mayor Hamwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. The city still had some monies left for the grant dollars we received for the renovation of the workout room, and we found that some of the female staff members were interested in some smaller weights that were not part of the original purchase, so this $2,381 permits us to accomplish what they would like to see in the room as well.
Thank you. Any questions? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Ordinance 119-24 passes 7-0.
Resolution 12024, resolution adopting the tax budget of the city of Medina, Ohio for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2025, and submitting the same to the Medina County Auditor.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Durham.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the tax budget for the 2025. This is not, doesn't actually budget our appropriations. They use it to come up with our revenue estimate.
Any further discussion on the resolution? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the resolution?
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Resolution 120-24 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 12124, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of one 2024 Ford Transit van from Montrose Ford for the Medina Community Recreation Center.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Mayor Hamwell.
Yeah, on behalf of Jansen Worley, who wasn't able to attend tonight, this authorizes the purchase of one 2024 Ford 15-passenger transit van from Montrose Ford through the Community University Education Purchasing Contract. It's going to be purchased with carry-forward funds for the rec center, and the primary use will be to expand programming opportunities for the community residents.
Any questions on the ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Ordinance 121-24 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 12224, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5923, passed March 27th, 2023, relative to the West Smith Road reconstruction, or West Smith Reconstruction Phase 4 project.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Patton.
Thank you, Mr. President. This request is to increase Fetchco Excavating's contract for West Smith Road to cover the cost of several unforeseen costs. I would note that the largest one, a little over $34,000, is for work related to sanitary sewer installation, and that will be paid for 100% by Medina County sanitary engineers.
Thank you. Any questions? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Ordinance 122-24 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 12324, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to advertise for competitive bids and to award a contract to the successful bidder for the Progress Drive Water Tower repainting and repairs project.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Patton.
Thank you, Mr. President. As mentioned, this will first of all, sandblast and repaint the existing tower. There's also several repairs and improvements, including a painter's railing on the roof, installing an interior wet ladder, and several other improvements. The estimated cost of the project is $375,000.
Thank you. Any other questions? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Ordinance 123-24 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 124-24, an ordinance amending Section 3102B7 and 3107 of the Salaries and Benefits Code of the City of Medina, Ohio, relative to the new classification of parking violations hearing examiner and adopting the job description for the same.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Discussion on the emergency clause and the ordinance. Mayor Hanwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. So a number of years ago, the state legislators changed the parking violation to make it more of a civil process. And part of that civil process for the city to deal with people that are not paying or waiving the parking fees, fines, is to have a parking hearing examiner review them, and if they state a violation, a letter is sent giving them a period of time, and if not, they can be certified to the municipal court where a block can then be placed on their renewal of their license plates and/or driver's licenses. The reason for the emergency clause is we only have a 12-month look back, and we have a number that have dropped off already, and to wait 30 more days would just permit that many more to drop off. Now, the person also has a right to have a hearing in front of the hearing examiner if they so choose, but they have a limited period of time to request that hearing, and if they don't, then the case is sent over to the municipal court for default.
Thank you. Any further question or discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Ordinance 124-24 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 125-24, an ordinance amending sections 35305E, 35306D, 35307B, and 35399C of the codified ordinance of the City of Medina, Ohio, relative to parking infraction fines.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Discussion on the ordinance and the emergency clause. Mayor Hamwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. So each of these stated sections had to be modified because of the change in the law for the infractions, as well as to add on fees if in fact a hearing is going to take place, or the hearing officer has to review it and certify it over to the municipal court. And for the same reasons as the previous ordinance, the emergency clause is requested so this can take effect without waiting another 30 days. The one section is actually the handicap parking violation section. Ours is not in compliance with the state law, and we're required to do so, and this will expedite becoming compliant with the state law. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment on the ordinance and/or the emergency clause? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Ordinance 125-24 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 126-24, an ordinance amending sections 3102B12, 3105, and 3107 of the Salaries and Benefits Code of the City of Medina, Ohio, relative to the Law Department.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Discussion on the emergency clause and ordinance. Mr. Huber.
Thank you, Mr. President. Attorney Bob Campbell in our office has been hired by Judge Werner to work as a magistrate, which leaves a large gap in handling the cases that we have. This ordinance allows me to hire Attorney Megan Philbin, who is a part-time prosecutor in the office, as a full-time attorney working in the office, which will fill the hole left by Bob's being gone. This ordinance also affords Matt Lanier a raise, which I think he's entitled to. And lastly, the ordinance removes the part-time prosecutor position and also gives to us the ability to hire an intern in our office during the summer, which will be good for young attorneys coming out of law school. Thank you. Emergency clause is requested so that we can try to get somebody to help with the caseload because we're kind of falling behind.
Thank you, and I guess you failed to mention the one important thing. I guess this is revenue neutral, and in fact, you're actually saving a little bit of money by making all these changes, so we appreciate that. Any further discussion on emergency clause in our ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Ordinance 126-24 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 127-24, an ordinance amending section 3102B5, B6, and 3105 of the Salaries and Benefits Code of the City of Medina, Ohio, relative to the Medina Municipal Court.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Keith or Cindy?
I'll take it.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is bringing our code up to date with the way things actually work, because a lot of these positions are paid under state code based on what the judge says or based on what the clerk says. So we've specified that in the pay code so that we understand how everybody's paid and how that's determined.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Ordinance 127-24 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 128-24, an ordinance authorizing expenditure not to exceed $50,000 to Medina County Treasurer for the lease of a portion of Medina County Courthouse Complex known as the 1969 Courthouse for the purpose of operating the Medina Municipal Court.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion, Mayor Hamwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. So the city executed a lease, well, the county executed the lease with the city on October 3rd of 2023, and the city executed it on September 28th of 2023. We have not paid any amount of rent since that period, and the reason for that was the county still had some property that they were either giving to other departments or auctioning off. As a result of that, now that property has been cleared, and the city is making preparations to remodel that court, so the lease payments need to begin. They've agreed to start them July 1st, so we have the last 2 quarters of this year, and we will be billed each quarter invoiced each quarter by the county at my request, just to keep it on our radar. And then last, the security cost, they've agreed to waive, which is $70,000 a year, up until the point that the city actually moves in and begins using it for municipal court purposes. So that will continue to save us money, because we're not putting any additional burden on the existing staffing at the Common Pleas Court.
Thank you. Any further comments? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Ordinance 128-24 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 129-24, an ordinance amending section 1 of section 3113 of the Salaries and Benefits Code of the City of Medina, Ohio, relative to vacation for experienced hires.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion, Mr. Durham.
Thank you, Mr. President. This came up several weeks ago. As you remember, there was kind of a committee appointed to look into it and come up with this recommendation. A lot of cities have had to make changes because of the hiring environment, so this is our changes to make things a little better for people come lateral transfer type of situations where we can give them more than the code previously did with Board of Control review, so there's accountability for it.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions or comments on that? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Ordinance 129-24 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 13024, an ordinance authorizing the finance director to make certain fund transfers.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion, Mr. Durham.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a transfer to cover the operations of the cable TV fund. With a lot of cord cutting, we don't get as much revenue as we used to from the cable TV franchise fee, so this is to keep that operation running.
Thank you. Any other comments? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazelton.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Ordinance 13024 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 13124, ordinance amending ordinance number 19023 passed November 28th, 2023, amendments to the 2024 budget.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion, Mr. Durham.
Thank you, Mr. President. The first one is to cover the transfer that you just voted on, and the second one is to appropriate money that was donated. We appreciate the donation from the Baseball Association.
Thank you. Any other questions? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazelton.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Ordinance 13124 passes 7-0.
Council comments. Mr. Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple comments. Last weekend or so, I had the pleasure of attending a few ribbon cuttings for new businesses and existing businesses in the city of Medina, one being the long-awaited Acme project at the south end of town. I just want to thank, on the city's behalf, want to thank Kimberly for working so hard to get these, Kimberly Marshall for getting these projects up and moving. Secondly, I would like to thank everybody that was involved with the June 13th, the Pride celebration, and the cemetery historical walk that was well attended in all three areas. It's just a pleasure living in the city, and I'm so glad to see so many residents taking part in all these festivities. Yeah, last thing is try to remember to be kind to one another. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I
Sarah.
just wanted to add, the Juneteenth celebration was also a very festive event on the square, with a lot more people this year than there have been the last 2 years, and it was fun. So we've had some really great, fun events on our square that does bring attention to our city. We're bringing in people from outside this area who are enjoying themselves, and they're coming back because you all do such a great job to make our city what it is. So thank you.
Thank you. Paul, nothing? Okay. All right, well, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.